Right, hello. I've got a Roland System-1 here, nice little synth, launched in about 2014 I think. Sort of harks back to the Roland 100, Roland 700 synths of great fame. Nice little machines. This one's come in for repair and I thought I'd show you what I'm doing with it. I've seen a couple of videos online to try and repair these keys, some of which are quite bad. So I thought I'd show you properly how to fix one of these should you have the same problem. So nice little synth, reasonable quality Roland controls as you would expect, a little bit flimsy compared to the older models but kind of fit for purpose. Key bed however is really bad, and this one's hasn't really been used very much according to the owner, but already 4 or 5, maybe even 6 keys are really bad. So if we play the keys, mostly working. So already low D not working, B not working, top B's a bit funny, top C's not working, so there's 3 completely dead, 2 or 3 quite bad. So I'll give you a quick run through of how we fix these kind of problems. Okay, first thing is to get it opened up. Main screws you've got to take out, so the 4 screws at the top, 5 screws rather, so if these 5 right at the top along here, you've got the 3 in the deep holes, and you've got another 5 down the bottom, 6 down the bottom. So these middle screws actually hold the board in, so there's no need to take out these middle screws, otherwise everything kind of comes apart. So just row at the top, 3 in the middle, 5 or 6 at the bottom, and we'll be able to get inside. So we'll flip it over. Always use some good foam to stop you damaging the front of it, and we'll get going. Okay, so getting inside this, so now we've taken the screws off, we can just simply lift the front panel, and you'll see there's a number of things holding in place. There's a 4-wire connector running through to the power supply, this one here, and there's a couple of foil ribbon connectors running from the top control panel down to the board. So first thing I would do is just make sure you mark the front of these. So take a pen, just mark them so that you know which way to put them back in. You could fix it by propping this up, I suppose. I just prefer to have a bit more space to work as I'm going along. You could just get something and prop the lid open, but I think what we'll do is we'll take the ribbon cables out so we can work a bit more easily. Okay, so we'll just take the power supply cable off here, and then we'll take these ribbon connectors out. A bit tight. Okay, and that lets us remove the top, which is much easier for working at. It gives us a bit more space. Now, the first thing you'll see if you know the inside of your keyboards is there's the effectively the cheaper key system. So most keys, most synths, especially vintage synths, will have individual keys. As you go down the series of models, it's often seen in the Yamaha models, the domestic models, PSR models would have these kind of banks of keys all connected together, which are a lot cheaper to make for the manufacturer, but they prove to be a lot flimsier in the synth. So they're held in batches, in groups, which you'll see in a moment as we take them off. So take these little screws out here. So we could do 1 octave at a time, but I think I'll just take them all off whilst we're at it. So they come off in order. I'll show you the order in a second. So they come off in a particular order, and then obviously when you put them back, they go back in the reverse order, back into the assembly. So really not my favourite key bed assembly, which is a bit of a shame because these little keyboards can produce some great sounds, and the rest of the controls are not too bad. It's just a shame that they've put this really cheap, really flimsy key bed in, which I don't think does them any favours. Right, those are the screws away. So you see these keys come in sections. So if you just take the back bar here, just slide it slightly out, you'll see that the key comes forward like this. So this is the D, the F, the A, so they all come together. So that comes first. You then get C, E, G, B, same thing. And then you have black keys all on the same rack. So that's how these keys are put together. Really quite a flimsy situation. So same with the top octave, just slide them forward slightly from the bushings. So first set D, F and A. Second set, we can probably leave the C, do that in a moment. And black keys at the top. So here we are. So underneath here we have the key contacts. So it looks like it might be a single strip, which is quite unusual. In lots of keyboards we'll have, you know, strips of 8 or strips of 10, or strips of an octave, for example. It looks like this is all one piece. So we go into the corner, peel this back, and this will basically pick up. So it's quite a piece. So just remember which way round it goes. You've got the dot on the top and the gap on the bottom. So put that to the side. We'll deal with that in a moment. The problem is often under these contacts here, so we need to do a bit of work on these and clean these up. So vast majority of the time, essentially, you've got a cleaning problem and a corrosion problem with the contacts that just need to be cleaned up. So get yourself some swabs, some Q-tips or cotton buds if you like. I use these MG ones. These are great, a bit more expensive than a regular Q-tip, but worth it. They're very strong and importantly lint free, so it means that especially for this kind of work, for other parts of a circuit maybe not so necessary, but certainly for this kind of a job you want to make sure not to leave any residue or any lint. So these are very good quality swabs. Again, get some IPA, make sure you get the good strong 99% stuff rather than the weaker 70% stuff, and then really just a matter of working along. I'll go in a bit so we can see what we're doing. Working along and giving these guys a bit of a clean up. You can already see the ones that were giving us the problem. This D, for example, here is just a bit grubby. So I'll work along these and come back for the next step. And then same again with the strip. So again, take the contact strip. So I go in here, just get a little bit of IPA on all the contacts. Make sure they're nice and clean. Now to get the contact strip back in, paper clip. So take a paper clip, bend it out. You can use a very fine tool if you have one. I tend to find actually a paper clip is slightly better than a tool. So let's get in here. Really, you want to start pushing these back into the holes, which we'll do all the way along. So these little end ones are a bit trickier to get in than the others. So you might need to just encourage them in a bit, but the others should press along with the paper clip. So just go along the line. Just making sure everything's nice and snug. Okay, I'll finish that and we'll get the keys back on. Okay, we've got everything back together. So just check this strip's nice and tight. You don't want any dust getting down the side. It's a little bit of lithium grease there. The lithium grease needs to stay on these bushings, so the keys are nice and straight. And then yeah, let's put the keys back on. So everything goes on backwards. So I just need to align everything. There we go. Okay, so that's the first batch. Second set, and finally the those weren't properly under the bushings there. Okay, and then we'll get them fixed back in. So all these back in. I just tend to put one at each end just while we get it together. Same thing here again. C. So that's the C sharp there. So put that in. Next, C, E, G and C. And last set. Same again. Okay, so let's get the rest of the screws back in. And we'll give it a test. See how you've got on. So don't need to be super tight, but tight enough to hold it in. The last C key just goes at the top here. Let's get him in. Okay. Let's do a bit of reassembling and see if that's done the trick. Okay, so I've just brought the control panel back. I've put the ribbon cables in, plug the power supply back in. Let's put it back together, see what we've got. Okay, give it a quick test. Put it back together again, haven't screwed it together. It's always good to test it before you put it back. All seems good. So before we have a D not working, B not working, and the top C not working. They're all good. Nice. All good. Job done.